He spoke with God face to face. Why would a prince of Egypt give up the palace to stand with slaves? Moses was born to Hebrew parents of the tribe of Levi, Amram and Jochebed, while Israel labored in Egypt. He was raised as the son of Pharaoh's daughter and learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. Yet by faith, when he came of age, he refused that royal title. When Moses was grown, he went out to his brothers and looked at their burdens, and he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brethren. When Pharaoh heard of the matter, he sought to kill Moses. So Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh to the land of Midian and sat down by a well. There he made his home with Jethro, the priest of Midian, and married his daughter Zipporah. In the wilderness, Moses turned aside to see a great sight, a bush burning with fire, yet not burning up. God spoke to him from it, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. When Moses asked what name he should give the people, God answered, "The Lord, the God of your fathers, has sent me to you. This is my name forever." God gave Moses signs. When he cast his rod on the ground, it became a serpent, and Moses fled from it. Moses protested that he was slow of speech and slow of tongue, so the Lord appointed his brother Aaron to speak for him. With Jethro's blessing, Moses set his wife and sons on a donkey and returned to Egypt with the rod of God in his hand. Aaron spoke all the Lord's words and did the signs before the people, but the king of Egypt only answered, "Get back to your labor." Moses was 80 years old when he stood before Pharaoh. Again and again he and Aaron carried the Lord's demand, "Let my people go that they may serve me." And again Pharaoh's heart was hard. The waters of Egypt turned to blood. Then came frogs, lice, swarms of flies, and boils. Moses stretched his rod toward heaven, and the Lord rained hail with fire darting to the ground. An east wind brought locusts, and then a darkness that could be felt covered all Egypt. Before the last blow fell, the man Moses had become very great in Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants and the people. Through Moses and Aaron, the Lord instituted the Passover, and all the children of Israel did just as the Lord commanded. Then they went out of the house of bondage, carrying articles of silver and gold and clothing they had asked of the Egyptians. Moses told them, "Remember this day, for by strength of hand the Lord brought you out of this place." At the sea, with Egypt behind them, the people were terrified, but Moses said, "Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord." He stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the waters back with a strong east wind, and the waters were divided. At morning Moses stretched out his hand again, and the sea returned to its full depth over the pursuing Egyptians. Then Moses and the children of Israel sang to the Lord, "I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously." In the wilderness the people complained against Moses, "What shall we drink?" and grumbled for bread. So the Lord rained bread from heaven, a quota gathered fresh each day, and gave water when Moses went ahead of the people with the rod in his hand. When Amalek attacked, Israel prevailed as long as Moses held up his hand on the top of the hill. And when Jethro saw Moses judging the people alone from morning until evening, Moses took his counsel and chose able men to share the burden. At Mount Sinai the Lord came down in a thick cloud, so that the people could hear when he spoke with Moses. Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, built an altar with 12 pillars for the 12 tribes, and sprinkled the blood of the covenant on the people. Then he was called up the mountain, and he went into the midst of the cloud and stayed 40 days and 40 nights. There God gave him 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of stone, written with the finger of God. While Moses was still on the mountain, the Lord said, "Go get down, for your people have corrupted themselves." They had pressed Aaron to make them gods, and he had made a golden calf. But Moses pleaded with the Lord his God for Israel. Then he went down and found the camp unrestrained, and confronted Aaron. "What did this people do to you, that you have brought so great a sin upon them?" About 3,000 men fell that day, and Moses went back up to the Lord, saying, "Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin." Moses cut 2 tablets of stone like the first ones and rose early to climb Sinai again. The Lord spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend, and told him, "You have found grace in my sight, and I know you by name." When Moses came down, the skin of his face shone, and Aaron and all the children of Israel were afraid to come near him. So Moses put a veil over his face, taking it off whenever he went in to speak with the Lord. Moses called Israel to bring freewill offerings for the tabernacle, and willing hearts gave until the workers said it was much more than enough. Bezalel and every gifted artisan did the work, and Moses looked it all over. They had done it just as the Lord commanded, and Moses blessed them. So Moses raised the tabernacle and finished the work. Then the Lord called to Moses and spoke to him from the tabernacle of meeting, giving Israel his statutes and laws by the hand of Moses. In the wilderness, even Moses' own family turned against him. Miriam and Aaron spoke against him, though Moses was more humble than all men on the face of the earth. The Lord himself answered, "Not so with my servant Moses, he is faithful in all my house." When the spies' bad report set the whole congregation raging, Moses and Aaron fell on their faces, and Moses interceded for the people. Later Korah gathered rebels against him, but Moses declared, "By this you shall know that the Lord has sent me." At Kadesh, Miriam died, and the people contended with Moses because there was no water. The Lord told him to take the rod, but Moses cried out to the assembly, "Hear now, you rebels, must we bring water for you out of this rock?" And because he did not believe God, to hallow him in the eyes of Israel, the Lord said Moses would not bring this assembly into the land. On Mount Hor, Moses stripped Aaron of his garments, put them on Eleazar his son, and Aaron died there on the top of the mountain. When serpents bit the people and they begged for prayer, Moses prayed and made a bronze serpent on a pole, and whoever had been bitten looked at it and lived. In the 40th year, Moses spoke to all Israel everything the Lord had commanded, and wrote the words of the law in a book until they were finished. He pleaded with the Lord to cross over, but the Lord said he would rest with his fathers, so Moses charged Joshua in the sight of all Israel, "Be strong and of good courage." Then Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord, and the children of Israel wept for him 30 days. And since then, no prophet has arisen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face.